I never thought I'd wake up to find my own farm being used as a wedding venue, without my permission. But that's exactly what happened. It started on a Wednesday morning, early summer, one of those bright, peaceful mornings where the dew still clings to the grass and the air smells like fresh hay and coffee. I was halfway through feeding the chickens when my phone buzzed non-stop. Text after text, call after call. I ignored it at first. My sister, Caroline, tended to get dramatic over small things. But when my old neighbor, Mrs. Dalton, texted, "So excited for the wedding at your place. Need help parking guests?" my heart stopped. What wedding? I muttered aloud, frozen in place with a scoop of feed in my hand. I called her immediately. "Mrs. Dalton, what do you mean the wedding at my place?" "Oh honey," she said, sounding confused. "Didn't your family send out invitations? Says right here, the wedding of Emily and Jake at the Johnson family farm. That's your place, right?" My stomach dropped. I felt my pulse race. "Yes, that's my place. But I didn't agree to host anything." She paused. "Oh dear, well, the invites are out. Everyone's talking about it." I hung up, feeling like the world tilted under me. My farm, the only thing I owned outright, the only piece of peace I had left after my divorce, was suddenly the venue for a wedding I knew nothing about. I stormed into the house, mud still clinging to my boots, and called Caroline. She answered on the second ring. "Hey, big brother. What's up?" "What's up?" "Caroline, do you know anything about wedding invitations being sent out with my address on them?" Silence. Then, her nervous laugh. "Oh, that. Yeah, Emily and Jake's wedding. We figured your place would be perfect. You've got the barn, the space, and the scenery. It's just one day." "One day?" I snapped. "You didn't even ask me." She tried to soften it. "Come on, Luke. You know how expensive wedding venues are. Emily's been stressing out for months. The farm means family. It's sentimental." "Caroline," I said through clenched teeth, "this isn't just a sentimental field. It's my home. My property." Her tone shifted, guilt creeping in. "We didn't mean to upset you. It's just, we sent the invites already. 200 of them." I couldn't even breathe for a second. 200? "Yeah," she whispered. "It's kind of too late to change now." That moment, I swear, something inside me cracked. I loved my family, but this wasn't love. This was entitlement. The same kind of behavior that made me distance myself years ago. I slammed the phone down, pacing across the creaky wooden floor. My dog, Rusty, followed me, tail down, sensing my tension. "What the hell, Rusty?" I muttered. "They think they can just take over my life like this." All I could picture was 200 strangers trampling across my lawn, cars parked in my fields, cigarette butts in the grass, kids chasing chickens, and loud music shaking my old barn's walls. That night, I sat at the kitchen table staring at the old photo of my dad and me, the last one we took before he passed. He built this farm with his hands. He'd always said, "Luke, this land will treat you as well as you treat it. Don't ever let anyone use it for something it's not meant for." And now here I was, about to see it turned into a circus. The next morning, I drove to town to talk to Caroline in person. I wasn't going to yell, I just needed answers. She lived with Mom, about 15 minutes away. When I walked in, they were both in the kitchen, Mom sipping coffee, Caroline scrolling through wedding decorations on her laptop. Mom smiled. "Morning, honey. Coffee?" "Not today, Mom. We need to talk." I turned to Caroline. "You sent those invitations?" She sighed. "Yes. And before you say anything, Luke, please understand this wedding means everything to Emily. It's her dream. I don't care about her dream if it turns into my nightmare," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "You didn't even ask. You just decided for me." Mom set down her cup. "Luke, sweetheart, your sister's right. You've got the space, and it's family. Why are you making this harder than it needs to be?" I stared at her. "Because it's my land, Mom. Mine. You both know how much I've put into keeping it up." Mom crossed her arms, disappointment on her face. "You've been alone on that farm too long. Maybe a wedding will bring some life back into it." Her words stung. So that's what this is about. You think I need company? No, Luke, she said gently. I think you need to open your heart again. Emily's wedding could be a blessing. I felt cornered, like I was being painted as the villain in my own story. You can romanticize it all you want, Mom, but you crossed the line. I turned to Caroline. You have 1 week to figure something else out. She looked terrified. Luke, you can't be serious. The caterers, the florist, the guests, they all have your address. We can't change it now. I clenched my jaw. Then maybe you'll have to cancel the damn wedding. Mom gasped. Luke. I didn't care. I stormed out, slamming the screen door behind me. Driving home, I felt the mix of anger and guilt twist in my gut. Part of me wondered if I was being heartless. But the other part, the louder one, knew this wasn't right. My family had overstepped before, but never like this. 2 days later, I started noticing cars driving by slowly, people pointing, taking photos. Word had spread. My farm was the venue. I called Caroline again, voice tight. You have to stop this before it gets worse. Her reply made my blood run cold. Too late, Luke. The rental company's dropping off tents tomorrow. What? They already got the deposit from Mom. It's happening. That night, I barely slept. Every sound, the wind creaking the barn doors, the hum of distant traffic, sounded like a warning. Something told me this wedding was going to tear our family apart. I sat up at 2 a.m., staring out the window at the dark outline of the fields. Dad, I whispered, what would you have done? And deep down, I knew. He would have stood his ground. But when I finally saw the first truck roll up the next morning, loaded with white tents and folding chairs, I realized it wasn't just about standing my ground anymore. It was about protecting what was mine, even if it meant losing the people I loved. Stay tuned, because what happened next changed everything. And trust me, you won't believe how far my own family went to get their way. The next morning felt heavier than the first. I woke before dawn, the familiar creak of the barn doors like a warning bell in my ears. I made my coffee, staring out over the fields, trying to convince myself I wasn't going to lose my mind. But the truth was, the farm had already been hijacked in my absence. By 7 a.m., trucks began arriving, one after another, carrying tents, tables, chairs, and decorations that looked completely out of place against the rugged backdrop of my property. A few workers waved at me as I approached, thinking I was just another family member or perhaps the hired help. I didn't correct them. I just watched, my stomach twisting into knots. I called Caroline. Her voicemail picked up almost immediately. No surprise. I tried Mom next. She answered, calm as ever. Luke, darling. Isn't it exciting? She chirped. Exciting for who, Mom? Not for me. You've taken over my farm. Oh, honey, don't be dramatic. It's just a few tents. And you'll see, it will look beautiful. Emily's been dreaming of this forever. I slammed my hand on the counter. Mom, it's my life, not Emily's dream. My farm is my sanctuary, and you've turned it into some kind of wedding circus. There was a pause. And then, almost too quietly, well, you could always come around and help. Make it part of the family. I hung up. My hands were shaking. I felt trapped, like the walls of the farm, which usually felt protective and familiar, were closing in on me. I wandered through the yard, pacing around the unfinished setup. White tents loomed like ghostly towers against the morning mist. Tables were stacked haphazardly, and workers wandered without direction. Rusty followed, whining softly, nudging my hand. I stopped by the barn, gripping the wooden railing. Dad, what am I supposed to do? I whispered, remembering him telling me that family can be a source of joy but only if they respect boundaries. He had also warned me that some battles aren't about winning but surviving. By late morning, Caroline and Emily arrived. Emily was a whirlwind of excitement, bouncing out of her car, arms full of flowers. She looked around and gasped. Oh, Luke, isn't it gorgeous? Mom and Caroline did such a wonderful job picking everything. I can't believe this is happening here. Your barn, it's perfect. I gritted my teeth. Emily, it's my barn. My property. You don't have permission to do this. Her smile faltered. Oh. I thought. Caroline said it would be fine. I felt my chest tighten, a mixture of anger and disbelief. You thought. Emily, I don't think about giving strangers access to my home. I decide who comes here. Caroline stepped in, flustered. Luke, don't be so harsh. It's just one day. One day. You've been alone for months. This is a family thing, why not let it happen? I turned to her, voice low but cutting. Caroline, let me be clear. This isn't about being alone. This is about respect. Something you clearly don't understand. Her eyes filled with tears. Luke. I just wanted everyone to be happy. Mom wanted it too. I thought it would be, fun. I shook my head, the heat rising in my chest. Fun? This isn't fun. This is violation. You used my home as a backdrop for someone else's dream, without asking. And now you expect me to just smile? Emily's shoulders slumped. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. I exhaled, trying to steady myself. Sorry doesn't fix this, Emily. 200 people think my home is a public venue now. The tension was suffocating. Rusty barked, a low, warning growl that seemed to echo my own anxiety. Over the next few hours, I tried reasoning with the event planners. They were cheerful, oblivious to my anger. Is this your first wedding, sir? One asked. Oh, don't worry, it'll all come together beautifully. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell them all to leave. But I knew if I did, the fallout with my family would be catastrophic. So instead, I walked away, pacing the fields, trying to breathe. By evening, a storm was rolling in. Dark clouds crawled across the sky, and the wind picked up, rustling the tall grass and swaying the partially erected tents. I couldn't shake the feeling that nature itself was warning me that this invasion wasn't meant to succeed. Caroline came running through the rain, her hair plastered to her face, clutching a bouquet. Luke, isn't it magical? The rain adds drama. It's so cinematic. I laughed bitterly. Cinematic? Caroline, this is my life. Not a movie. You don't get to script it. She faltered, looking guilty. Luke, maybe we should have asked you. I felt my body tense, ready to explode, but I knew screaming wouldn't solve anything. Instead, I said slowly, you've crossed a line. And I'm not letting this happen without consequences. I'll figure out how to stop it even if it means calling off the wedding entirely. Caroline's face went pale. Luke, you can't do that. Mom, everyone, they'll hate you. They already do, I muttered under my breath. That night, the storm raged. I sat on the porch, watching the tents flail in the wind, listening to Rusty whining by my side. I thought about my dad again, the man who had taught me patience, strength, and how to stand firm. He would have protected this land. And I realized I had a choice: let my family bulldoze my life, or fight back and risk losing them forever. I picked up my phone and sent one message to Emily, to Caroline, to Mom. I cannot allow this wedding at my farm. I will not. I didn't wait for a reply. I went inside, staring at the walls that had held so many memories, the floors worn with decades of love and hard work. I felt like a stranger in my own home. Then, in the silence, I heard it, the faint sound of footsteps on the porch. Someone was trying to come in. My heart raced. I grabbed a flashlight and went to the door. It was Caroline, drenched, eyes wide. Luke. I didn't want you to be mad. But Mom says, I cut her off. No, Caroline. You don't get to talk on her behalf. You need to leave my property now. Everyone needs to leave. Her lip trembled. Luke, please. Don't make this worse. I already have, I said, voice shaking. That night, I barely slept. The sound of wind, rain, and the distant hum of traffic felt like a countdown. I knew the next day would bring confrontation with my family, with the wedding planners, and with myself. And I knew, deep down, that whatever happened next could break us all. The sun rose the next morning, but it brought no warmth, no comfort, just the pale, cold light of inevitability. The tents still flapped violently in the wind, now soaked and sagging under last night's storm. I stepped outside, Rusty at my heels, to survey the damage. Chairs were scattered across the yard, flower arrangements crushed in the mud, and a few brave caterers were trying to salvage the setup, oblivious to the chaos. I knew I had to act. I couldn't let 200 strangers step onto my property without my consent. My hands trembled as I picked up the phone and called my lawyer, explaining everything: the unapproved invitations, the encroachment, the breach of my property rights. By the time I hung up, I felt slightly steadier, like I had a plan, even if it was just the first step. Then I heard a car pull up. My heart sank. It was Mom and Caroline, both armed with umbrellas, Emily trailing behind with a nervous smile and a bouquet clutched to her chest. "Luke, please," Mom started, her voice calm but firm. "We've talked this over. You can't ruin Emily's day. She's been planning this for months." I shook my head, unable to stop the anger and hurt from bubbling over. "Mom, this isn't about ruining anyone's day. This is about respect. I've told you repeatedly, this is my farm, my home, my life. And you've treated it like a prop for your convenience." Caroline stepped forward, voice shaky. "Luke, we just wanted to make everyone happy. Mom, me, Emily, we didn't think you'd mind." I clenched my fists, trying to hold back tears I didn't want to shed in front of them. "You didn't think, Caroline. That's the problem. You don't think. You just act. And the consequences fall on me." Emily took a hesitant step closer. "Luke, I never wanted to upset you. I thought," her voice broke, "I thought family meant sharing, making memories together." I felt my chest tighten. Her words cut deeper than I expected. I wanted to yell, to scream, to demand everyone leave, but I also wanted to be heard, to make them understand the real weight of their actions. I took a deep breath. "Emily, family does mean sharing. But it also means respecting each other's boundaries. You've crossed mine." Mom's face fell, and I realized she was genuinely stunned. She had always believed that family loyalty meant bending to collective will. But I wasn't bending. Not this time. The next hours were tense. I stood my ground while phone calls flew between the wedding planners and my lawyer. Caroline tried reasoning, Emily pleaded, Mom tried to mediate. But I remained firm: my property, my rules. At one point, a gust of wind tore through the tents, sending a cluster of chairs crashing into the mud. I watched as everyone froze, realizing that nature itself seemed to echo my sentiment: this wasn't meant to happen. Emily's face drained of color, and even Mom's composed demeanor faltered. I guess maybe we shouldn't do this," Caroline admitted, her voice small. Emily's eyes welled up. "But Mom said," I interrupted gently but firmly, "but Mom also respects boundaries. And she'll have to respect mine too. This farm is my life, not a stage for someone else's celebration." Slowly, they all started helping me dismantle the remaining structures. It was awkward at first, full of silent resentment and occasional tears, but by the late afternoon, the farm was restored to its natural state. Muddy footprints were washed away, tents packed, tables stacked neatly almost like the storm and chaos had never happened. We sat on the porch afterward, Rusty lying between us. There was a quiet tension, but also a tentative sense of understanding. Mom finally spoke. "Luke, I realize now that we went too far. I thought we were helping Emily, but we forgot about you. I'm sorry." Caroline nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. "I'm sorry too, Luke. I should have asked. I let excitement cloud my judgment." Emily's voice was barely above a whisper. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just wanted it to be perfect." I looked at them all, my anger softening but not disappearing entirely. "I know you meant well," I said slowly. "But next time, remember, my home, my rules. That's not negotiable." There was a pause, long, heavy, full of unspoken words. And then, a small smile from Caroline. "I'll remember that." By sunset, we were laughing quietly about the chaos of the last 2 days, and for the first time, I felt a fragile sense of relief. The farm was mine again, intact, protected, and perhaps a little stronger than before, because it had survived not just a storm in the sky, but the storm of family entitlement. That night, as I sat alone on the porch with Rusty, the stars emerging overhead, I realized something. Family will test you, push you, sometimes even break you, but boundaries are what keep you whole. Protect them. Fight for them. And sometimes, the act of saying no is the most loving thing you can do for yourself and even for them. And as the wind whispered through the fields, I smiled quietly, knowing that this farm, my sanctuary, my home, would always be a place of truth, strength, and integrity.